Today, we on the opposition team firmly stand against the motion that this House would ban children from making money off of social media and competitive gaming. This proposal is overly paternalistic, economically regressive, and ultimately disconnected from how children interact with digital spaces today. It does not protect children, it disempowers them. It assumes that because risk exists, autonomy must be removed. But risk, when well managed, is not a justification for an outright ban. We believe that with proper regulation, support, and digital education, young people should be allowed to participate meaningfully and yes, profitably in the digital economy. Let's begin by defining the motion clearly. We interpret children to mean individuals under the legal age of adulthood, typically under 18 years old. Making money off of social media and competitive gaming refers to monetization through platforms like TikToks, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and through esports tournaments, sponsorships, affiliate partnerships, and content monetization tools. And ban here means a legal prohibition, not regulation, not age limitations, but a blanket denial of any form of income generation by minors through these platforms. We, on the opposition, accept that these industries, like any others, carry risk, but we reject the idea that risk alone justifies exclusion. Society does not ban young people from sports, television, music, or performing arts despite risks of injury, pressure, or exploitation. Instead, we regulate because we understand the value these platforms bring. The same principle should apply here. First, let's address the issue of safety. The proposition argues that children face physical, psychological harm, cyberbullying, grooming, addiction, and performance pressure from online monetization. These are all valid risks, but banning income doesn't remove children from these platforms. It just stops them from benefiting from their time spent there. Let's be real. Children are already on social media and gaming platforms. The average age of TikTok users is under 20. Children stream their gameplay. They upload dances, comedy skits, and vlogs. The platforms are already in their lives. So what does a ban achieve? It closes off economic opportunity, but leaves all the risks intact. Now compare that to our model, one that focuses on stricter platform age verification, parental oversight tools for earnings and screen time, mandatory income management through joint accounts with guardians, and platform-provided education on digital safety, financial literacy, and content ethics. Through these policies, we turn risky environments into learning ecosystems, where children can earn while developing digital citizenship, financial responsibility, and creative skills. What's more, children's confidence, identity development, and communication skills often improve when they participate meaningfully in online communities. Let's not ignore the positive psychological and developmental effects this engagement can have when supported correctly. Now, let's talk about class and opportunity, a critical impact the proposition completely overlooks. The rise of digital platforms has democratized income opportunities in a way traditional institutions never could. A teenager from a rural village in the Philippines can go viral on TikTok. A 16-year-old from a housing project in Brazil can earn thousands through esports. A child in a low-income neighborhood in the US can become a successful YouTuber or brand ambassador. What unites these cases is that digital access breaks geographic and economic barriers. It gives children who may lack access to elite schools, expensive extracurriculars, or college admissions a chance to shine and to earn. Proposition's ban shuts this down entirely. And who suffers? Not the wealthy. Their children will continue building digital portfolios privately through parents' accounts or via lawyers or and cooperate proxies. But the working class child, for whom that income may be essential to support family or education, that child is excluded. This ban doesn't equalize, it entrenches inequality. Finally, let's address the moral argument that monetizing children's interest is somehow unethical or exploitative. Let's be clear. Forced monetization, such as parents coercing children into content, is abuse and should be treated as such. But that is not a reason to ban all self-directed participation. Children today are digital natives. They grow up watching creators, streamers, influencers, and esports stars. Many of them are genuinely passionate about what they do online, whether it's fashion, commentary, comedy, or even competitive gaming. The idea that making money from this passion is inherently wrong is outdated. We don't say that to a 14-year-old who wins a music competition, or a 10-year-old chess prodigy, or a child actor on a TV series. So why treat digital success so differently? What's more, allowing income from these interests builds early financial literacy, understanding of contrast, royalties and sponsorship ethics, and even career pathways in media design, storytelling, and tech. This is not exploitation, it's education and entrepreneurship. And the idea that children must wait until 18 years old to be trusted with money or creativity is both elitist and unrealistic. Let me now briefly preempt a few arguments we expect from the proposition. Mental health concern. Yes, social media can be mentally taxing, but banning income doesn't ban content creation, it only removes incentive and guidance. Regulated systems, on the other hand, can provide supports, counseling, and limits, ensuring a healthier environment. Second, online predators and exploitation. These are genuine threats, but again, they exist whether or not the child is monetized. Aggressive bans just force children into unmonitored, less visible channels, making exploitation more likely, not less. It's too difficult to regulate safely. That's not a reason to ban. It's a reason to invest. Governments regulate much harder things. Food, transport, data privacy, protecting children online deserves the same attention, not abandonment. This motion fails to recognize the complexity of the modern digital world. Children today are creators, competitors, entrepreneurs, not simply passive consumers. They deserve protection, yes, but also opportunity, respect, and empowerment. A ban robs them of income, identity, and growth. Regulation, on the other hand, lets them thrive safely and responsibly. For creativity, for equity, and for autonomy, we are proud to oppose this motion. Thank you.